So here's my recommendation as far as walking through here. So in the first step, I'd have Dr. Ebner go here in her course, copy her course, her section that she's using this semester. Don't share, copy over, and then just type in your 2 email addresses right here. Find colleagues and copy it over. So that way you actually have her actual section to work with. So that's the first part. As I mentioned, I would recommend that both of you work within one of your accounts rather than separately. And here's the reason why. So go into add an assignment, create new from question bank, and this is the assignment builder. You'll notice you have all the chapters from the test, and there's test banks within each one. So if you're working in the same account, basically you both can be working. So if this is an exam, let's say over 4 chapters, for example, one of you could take 2 chapters, the other one take 2 chapters, and build a question pool for those 2 and add them to a single assignment that can then later be copied over to Dr. Ebner. So here's the point. When you're working inside of here, you choose a chapter, and then here's your test bank. You can filter this test bank down if you just want multiple choice questions. You narrows it down to 125 from 145. You can also narrow this down by difficulty. So if you want a certain number of medium questions, difficulty questions, you can filter that down as well. If you want to review each question, you can see it says MC, which means multiple choice. Go into that particular question. When you find a question that you want, go ahead and click on add this question, and I would say add it to a pool rather than add it to an individual question. Be sure to name the pool. So if this is chapter 1 test pool, for example, you can configure the pool later on. That's not a big deal. That's something that either you or Dr. Ebner can work on. But go ahead and add that question to the pool. And then keep working through your questions. So if you find another question that you like, go ahead and add that question to a pool. There's your existing pool. There you go. And just work through that way. So when you're done, you can go ahead and name this assignment whatever you want to. Test 1, for example. And save it. What you want to do is create a pool of questions for each chapter. So one of you can work on, like I said, arbitrarily, 2 chapters. So once you're done with chapter 1, what you can do is, if you're working on chapter 2 as well, what you can do is go back to the table of contents, and now once you have all your questions from chapter 1, go to the test bank for chapter 2, and you're seeing everything individual in a list like this. But if you want to see it in a list like before, same thing. Sort it, multiple choice if you want to, just to get down and narrow it down. Same thing if you want to narrow it down or filter it by the difficulty. So this is your chapter 2. You find a question, add it to a pool, a new pool, because this is your chapter 2 pool. There you go. Again, you can modify this stuff later. Add it to your pool. So in essence, what you have here is one assignment test that will have, let's say if there were 4 chapters, this one chapter test would have 4 pools in it. So what happens is, once you're done, you see here, what you can do is you're going to have chapter 1, and for this one assignment, you're going to say, let's say you had come up with, I don't know, 50 questions. You can draw however many you want. So this lets you control each student, how many questions they get from each chapter. And if each one of you are all working on this separately, what will happen is you'll have a chapter 1, a chapter 2, somebody else is working on chapter 3, chapter 4, what have you. Once you're done, you got all your questions, what you want in here. You don't have to worry too much about the policies in here, because Dr. Ebner can change these later if she wants to, as she's working through here. But if you do want to go ahead and through here as far as the policies go, if this is an exam, for example, basically you can set the availability for this. So if you're going to give the students a certain time frame to work on this, there's your settings as you go through here. So the number of attempts is already defaulted to 1 attempt, for example. Basic things in here, like if you want to set a time limit on this test once they start it. So in other words, if you want to give students, let's say, a 24-hour window in here, and once they start the exam, there's a running clock that say, I don't know, 50 minutes for the test. Attempts, same thing. You have one attempt for it. Answer tolerances is something you can work through, but these are all multiple choice, so this is not something that's really going to impact you too much. Resources, if you want to turn the ebook on, we talked about this is something you all consider. You can turn the ebook on for students if you want to as you go through. And then as far as feedback goes, when a student hits submit on their test, what kind of feedback are they going to be getting? Nothing. Do they just get their grade in here? Whatever, however you want to control it. You can control when they get feedback. So in other words, if you want to set it and they get this feedback on a particular day, let's say a week after the exam, so that kind of pulls in everybody if you have anybody taking late exams or what have you. Once you're done, again, you can set your start times. If you want to set a certain time, you can basically go in here and let's say you're going to give the students arbitrarily, I'm just saying, a 24-hour window to take this exam. You can do that, but again, there you set a time limit of 50 minutes, so they can anytime within this 24-hour period can start the exam, and then as soon as they hit start, they'll be warned that they have a running clock of 50 minutes to go in and complete the exam. So that way they're not held so tight to a window in here. Let's say if they have computer issues or something, they can get in, if that makes any sense. Once you're done, you can basically save the settings. And that's it. So once this is done and you assign this, again, this is in your play section or the section that you're working for, the TA. Once you have this exam, all you need to do then is go here and then copy it back over to Dr. Ebner's course. So basically what you're doing is you have a little bit of a sandbox or an area where you create the exam, go through the questions, create the exam that you want. When she's done and she has it, you actually have this particular assignment, you can then go back and send it over into her course, and then she can go ahead and have it ready for the students in the class. Hope that makes some sense. Let me know if you have any questions.